The body wasn't there. The police didn't arrest me because of that, but I didn't know whether to feel happy about it. Just like Satoko had said, I'd failed to kill her uncle. The body wasn't there, so I was forced to conclude as much. No matter what strange natural disaster, coincidence, or miracle it might have implied, in order to free Satoko, I became a demon. And this abnormal world was my reward. Yes, metaphorically, I had fallen into the demon world. But if that price had been in exchange for the life of Satoko's uncle, then that would have been fine. Since Satoko's uncle was still alive, still shackling her to him, I needed to become a demon once again. One more time. No, as many times as it took. I would kill that man over and over again until Satoko was liberated. I had already awoken. I looked at the clock to see that it was early in the morning, at just about 5. It was already light outside. Once I hardened my resolve to become a demon again, I could feel my whole body teeming with awakened power once more. Time wasn't an issue. No matter what, I'd do it. I got myself up. The exhaustion for the past 2 days was completely swept away, and I didn't even feel sleepy anymore either. I slowly rose and made sure my body was moving like I wanted it to. I could feel the blood flowing through each and every one of my fingers. As I got dressed, I let my mind wander, and had a strange thought. These 2 days, while I said it was for Satoko's sake, the only thing on my mind has been killing. I said it was for Satoko, but while actually carrying out the act, I had completely forgotten about Satoko, I bet only temporarily. Maybe initially it was for Satoko's sake, but now I was just a demon, killing for the sake of killing. And as a result, I sunk into a world fit for such a demon. Maybe it was the same for Satoshi. He resolved himself to kill his aunt to save Satoko, became a demon, then disappeared from the sunlit Himizawa, vanishing into the demon world. Which meant that, after all was said and done, I met the same fate as him. I tried to avoid making the same mistakes, but it happened anyway. Which meant that maybe Satoshi was here. Satoshi had come to this world a year before me, so he would be here somewhere. Then, surprised, I stopped walking. There was the second set of footsteps I'd grown so used to hearing. Could you be Satoshi? The empty, lifeless air wouldn't give me an answer, but I felt a strange kind of relief that there was someone there, that Satoshi had stuck with me the whole time. Let's go, Satoshi. Once more. This time, we will set Satoko free for sure. I quietly slipped out of the house so my parents wouldn't notice. If they caught me now, when I'd been out way too late for 2 days in a row now, they would give me a really angry talking to. Well, they might have got a talking to by a doctor saying that you may or may not have homicidal tendencies, so there might be some more issues than you staying out late. Then, yeah, there's more issues than you staying out late, Keiichi. I didn't have the time to allow for that to happen. Today, I would put an end to it. If the dead body disappeared, then I didn't have to bury it. I could just burn to ashes, and then take them with me, so I could kill him again every time he resurrected. I'd do it again. I'd kill him again. And this time, I'd set her free. Outside, the morning light was so beautiful as to stagger belief. I went to the storage room to find weapons in which I could kill him for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter to me. Right now, I didn't even care whether someone saw or the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. A world where I showed up at the festival and had fun, even though I wasn't there. Even if the police arrested me, I would probably end up going right back home as if nothing ever happened. Both me and that other, Keiichi Maebara. Even without me, he fell in. I could vanish from Himizawa without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if I was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maebara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Sato's sake, then that was just part of my duty as her Nini. As those desperate thoughts became serious, that morning air felt more refreshing to me, strangely enough. Oh. This one's scary. Let's go with this. It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I couldn't exactly take it out in public like that, so I wrapped it a little in some old newspaper and tossed it into the basket on my bike. Whoa, that was a freeze. Sorry for using you for evil all the time. I'll need you again today, my legs. I apologize to my bike for some reason. For the past 3 days, I've only used it for dangerous things. I've been riding this bike ever since I lived in my old town. I could walk most places I wanted to go, so I hadn't used it all that much. My mom had bought it for me when I entered cram school, thinking it would be a convenient way to get to the station, since it was far away. So, I'd always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket, too. I never tried to put a hatchet that I would be using to kill someone in there. When I came to Mizawa, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might have been shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how fun those times have been. I killed someone, and now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay, but still. The times I had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. My friends were irreplaceable, and the time spent with them a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking each other, but always in a friendly way. I didn't fear committing any crime, as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times that gave my heart so much pleasure. Yes, this was a value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I learned from a school teacher. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I thought back to when I first came to Mizawa. About how on the very first day, Satoko had welcomed me via a blackboard erasure with a rock in it. That welcome really scared the heck out of me. She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in other people's businesses. And that went for Mion, Rena, and Rika-chan too. Wasn't Satoko the one at the center of everyone's laughing and banter? Satoko would try to look cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. Then Satoko would cry, which would put Rena in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would be greatly delighted. And I happened to get mixed up in it. Who would always fool around like that? It was lonely when someone wasn't around. But if I had to name one whom it was the worst, it would have been Satoko. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, not smiling was the same as dying. It was just like when I was silently going to cram school every day, just to maintain my unchanging test scores. So, basically, we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateable. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back. Knights, of course, use swords. The awesome two-handed kind! I'm probably the only knight in the history of the world to be taking someone on with a thick, rusty hatchet. Then I saw an old woman in the ridge of a field, raving to me. Oh my! Keiichi-kun! Out for a morning ride, I see. Good morning. Out of context, old lady. Good morning, Keiichi. Good morning. I reflexively way back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy, waving like that when you have a fucking murder weapon on your front basket of your bike? Satoko's house would be right past this road, going beyond the rice paddies, so the old lady's not even going to comment on that. No comment on that, okay. Cicadas had woken up too, and the next thing I knew, I was the audience to their daily chorus. I gave myself a hit or two in the head, and drove away in my merry morning mood. I took a deep breath, then tilted my head back, quelling my pointless excitement. The body wasn't there. Its absence either meant my killing event had been an illusion, or that I killed him and he's risen from the dead. If I was at the festival, then maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like a lunatic. But it being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt. Without a doubt. If that had been an illusion, then that would make all of the seem all I was in right now an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic accident, and I was currently dreaming in a hospital bed about how great it would be to spend time with friends and rice paddies like these. That was a terrifying thought, though. If this wasn't an illusion, then the only possible answer was that he resurrected. It would make him a literal monster. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less than a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill someone, and I could even manipulate curses. Takuro-san died probably because I cursed her. Or maybe that was a little much. If Coach and Oishi died too, like I cursed them to yesterday, then I'd believe it. I set my bicycle aside and went inside to take a look. I went to take a look. He's not inside yet. His motorbike wasn't there. Here. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it down to Okinafuchi Swamp. Or maybe, just like how the corpse wasn't there, maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown down to the swamp either? The fact that his bike wasn't here might have been because he had gone to town and had to come back. Not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then that was convenient on its own. Then I would just show myself then, and then wait for him to return, sharpening my hatchet. If he was here, forgotten sensations came up to my gut. A feeling of tension rose within me. The sensation was like poison, dulling my actions, but it could also be the trigger to allow me to awaken my superhuman, otherworldly self. I held the hatchet, still wrapped in newspaper. Oh, wait, oh, he hid it. Okay, so no wonder why the old lady didn't question it. He wrapped the hatchet in newspaper. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. I didn't know what time it was without a clock, but it was probably a little before 7. Satsuko would probably be awake, preparing breakfast and her lunch. But her uncle would probably still be wallowing in indolence. A guy like him probably would have stayed up late drinking, and probably slept until noon. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Satsuko open the door for me, but if her uncle woke up at the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Satsuko saw me sneak inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. If I ran into her, what would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, so stay quiet? No, I couldn't do that. That would be like making Satsuko responsible for his death. Be quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it. How would Satsuko react to that? She would probably try to get me to give up on killing him. I would have to lie somehow to get her to go outside. Satsuko didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't quite think of a good lie to tell her, but I couldn't do as much as just standing around like this. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob. Then slowly, turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. The gap between the door and the wall suddenly grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Sadako's house hit me. At the entrance, there were a few pairs of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether it was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear a television on somewhere. The television was in the messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving an impression decidedly different from a happy family's mealtime. Meals were for eating food while thanking the person for making it. Meaning whatever occurred in this dining room wasn't a meal. Nobody in sight. No sign of anyone either. But with the television on, he must have been close. Could he have anticipated my coming and be in hiding, waiting for me? The tension I felt was so thick, so tight, that I thought it would choke me. The newspaper wrapping in the hatchet's thick blade didn't hamper its power at all. I tightened my grip on it, then, very carefully, to look around. Where had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up on my brow got on my nerves. And then, I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains and bowl of rice were all hard and dried up. Then, was it last night's dinner? I left the dining room, keeping vigilant, went down the hallway, and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out of a second-story window. It was highly possible that room was his own, and that he slept there. I tiptoed up the edges of the stairs, quietly climbing, without making a sound. I couldn't hear any kind of snoring. I didn't hear anything up there. I went through a few rooms, slowly and quietly opening the paper doors, checking inside. But I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down on the floor and pressed my ear right up to it. I could hear the television in the dining room and a low hum, perhaps of boiling water. It was then that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. Is the uncle in the house? Or is he truly gone? This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on, but it wasn't normal for nobody to be around this early in the morning. I silently descended the stairs and went back into the dining room. I looked at the food scattered about. Completely dried up rice, an overturned bowl of miso soup, the package for a side dish bought at a supermarket. I could tell Sako had definitely been the one who made this. The food was far from beyond perfection or Rena's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, and from the type and amount of side dishes, I could deduce the meal was from last night. The number stamped onto the food package read 830620, June 20th, 1983. That was yesterday. And there was food for two, which meant that this was last night's dinner, and Sato's uncle would have been here then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, our uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault with Sato's food, and thrown the bowl of miso soup and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was lit a flame of anger and a curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? Oh. I heard the sound again. One from before. Like a water boiler. What was it coming from? The first floor? But where? The bathroom, maybe? Oh. I could hear the noise coming from the other side of the frosted glass at the far end of the changing room. It hadn't been the sound of the water boil for the bath. Steam was enshrouding the glass door, and the heat from it was leaking to the changing room where I was standing too. My misgivings deepened. People didn't normally take a bath this early in the morning. If one did, then it would mean that in this house, time had been stopped ever since some moment last night. Was it being reheated? The water boil in the bathroom had been active this whole time. I checked in the closing basket and saw Satsuko's familiar uniform stuffed in it. The uniform had stains and dried rice stuck to it, so that's something she could wear today. It was probably from the miso soup at the dinner table yesterday. I looked hard at the frosted glass, but I couldn't see anything through all the steam. And then an electric surge ran through my mind, and a terrible premonition came over me. Could she couldn't possibly have been in there last night. That would be impossible. But no! In Himazara right now, nothing was impossible. I gulped audibly, and quietly pulled aside the glass door. Hot, steaming air burst out of the slight opening. The fan wasn't on in the changing room, so it went completely white with the steam. Just as the hot vapor poured into the changing room, cooler air flowed into the room of the bath. And I just heard, due to being hit by that air, a very weak moan. That was all I needed to know who it was. Sadako! No answer. Satsuko was in the bathtub, surrounded by a thick layer of rising steam. The top half of her body was leaning over the edge of the tub, and she was passed out. The water boil kept on making a whistling noise, as if angered. I could see the gas flame through a small window. It was roaring at force, completely blue. Satsuko's entire body was boiled red and flaccid, as though her bones had melted away. She was almost like a doll, and she lay there unconscious. I wasn't sure how many seconds passed as I stared in complete befuddlement. I came back to my senses and promptly shut up the boiler. Then I dragged Satsuko's small body out of the bathtub. The water in it was as hot as the water in public baths. Was she in this boiling water for the entire night? She'll die. She'll die. Satsuko's body was lighter than I expected as I laid her on the floor and wrapped her in a towel. I went back into the bathroom and opened up the vent, creating a path for a cool breeze to come through. Upon the breeze hitting her, Satsuko moaned again. You'll be alright, Satsuko. It's me, Keiichi. Keiichi! Can you hear me? Keiichi's... Satsuko recognized me and muttered a response, but I couldn't really tell what she was saying. Her eyes were muddy and unfocused. I could tell she wasn't completely conscious. Upon closer inspection, her limbs and wrists were twitching slightly. This was way worse than normal overheating. This was dangerous. Didn't they call this heat stroke? Think, what would the teacher do if a girl passed out in the middle of the summer during a marathon in gym class or something? I turned the water faucet in the kitchen all the way on and soaked a towel in it. I then took the cold towel and pressed it onto Satsuko's forehead. Satsuko reacted harshly to the coldness and let out a muffled voice. For burns, right, you would soak the burn spot under running water. Then, could I run cold water in the shower and cool her off like that? No, if it was that sudden, it wouldn't be good for her heart, and she would go into shock. I think I read that once before. This was about as much nursing as I could possibly give her. Go to the hospital. Anything more than this would be too much for the likes of an amateur. What happened, Satsuko? You're all right now. I will. Your Nini will save you for sure. 5,039. 540. What was Satsuko reciting under her breath? I brought my ear to her mouth better make out the mysterious, spell-like words she kept saying. And at that moment, I understood what they were for. Satoko, you were counting? Why? People tell little kids in the bath to count to 100 a lot, right? Satoko was counting like that. But 5,039? You moron! How long were you supposed to count in your own bathtub? 10,000. I doubted my ears. I doubted her common sense. 10,000? You're a freaking idiot! What kind of dumbass can count to 10,000? There's no way you could do that. You were boiled to death before you got that far. Why were you... My uncle. Last night, her uncle flew into the race of the dinner she made, saying it stunk and was inedible. Satoko didn't understand what on earth he meant. It wasn't much different than what she usually made for him. Maybe he hated the smell of the pickled vegetables she bought in particular. Her uncle then decided that the stink was originated from Satoko, and shouted at her that she never ever took baths. And then he put Satoko in the boiling water and told her not to come out until she counted 2. No. God. I don't know if I can do the screaming, cause, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. This is a really intense scene, and I feel like if I try, doing a muffled scream like Keiichi, like I'm screaming as Keiichi, it would just not come out correctly, so I'm gonna move on to the next line, but... Oh boy. I snapped and exploded. Raising the newspaper-wrapped hatchet, I stampeded through the house. I searched for anything. Traces, signs, smells, vibrations, heartbeats. With a war cry, I raced up the stairs with such force I could have stomped a hole through them. Then I found the futon in the room I thought to be her uncle's, and well aware he wasn't sleeping in there, I bashed it with a hatchet. Did he run into the closet? I busted the entire closet down, door and all. And if he's not in there, maybe there's a secret door! Any switches or levers in the wall here? I smashed into the wall after wall with the hatchet, crushing them. Dust rose in the air and broken pieces scattered about the floor. I smashed all the glass windows too, for good measure. After I destroyed everything beyond recognition in her uncle's room, my reason finally kicked in and suppressed my emotions. Anyway, her uncle wasn't in the house right now. I had to leave, killing him until later. Right now, I have to do something about Satoko. I went back to the changing room. Satoko was still lying limp on the floor. There was nothing more an amateur like me could do for her. I needed to take her to the clinic. Coach had treated me like a lunatic yesterday and tried to lock me up in a mental hospital. I never wanted to see his damn face again. But I still needed to go to the infirmary one more time. I needed to have a doctor look at Satoko. I thought about putting her in a dirty uniform lying in a laundry basket. I had no experience in dressing someone, so it would be very difficult. Shit. I don't have time to be wasting here. I eventually gave up on clothing her and decided to carry her in the bath towel. The clinic was close to Satoko's house. It would be way faster to carry her there than to call 119 and get the ambulance. I threw the biggest towel I could find over her and prompted her to stand. Can you stand? I'll carry you over to the clinic. Thank you. Her words sounded clearer than ever before. She was starting to come back. I cried tears of relief, just knowing she'd improved even a little bit. Satoko turned over so she was lying on her face, and then put up a weak struggle to get up on a knee. I smoothly swept her up and put her on my back. The towel I put on her seemed like it was about to fall off. The towel. It hurts. We will be there soon. It won't be long, so stay strong. It didn't hurt one bit to carry Satoko. She was light. Too light. The lightness actually made me uneasy. Outside, it had gotten hotter, as though eager to attack Satoko. Fucking cicadas! Why did I have to choose this morning to get so hot out? I didn't have time to swear at them. The clinic was this way. Hoisting Satoko on my back, I broke into the trot. This is a difficult chapter to read. I'm gonna say this now. The ending of this chapter is probably like, it was one of the biggest. It was a huge moment in the series to show how it touched topics, because this is a huge topic that is touching, and towards the end of Tatarigoroshi, from what I remember the anime, the big effects on Satoko's character were shown due to the abuse she received from her uncle, and right now, like one of the biggest, worst moments for Satoko was right then and there when Keiichi found her in the bath, because, well, she almost died. If Keiichi didn't come, she would have died there. So, yeah, this is one of the rougher chapters to read. The hilly road to the clinic, with which I had never had difficulties before, was now torturous. Big beads of sweat formed on my brow, and at some point, my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. Drop it. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go. At least not while Satoko's uncle was still breathing. The signboard for the irate clinic came into sight, but I quickly noticed something was odd, so I stopped. Several red revolving lights were flashing at the clinic. 3 police cars were parked in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be much else to inform me. Something had happened. I didn't want to see a coach, so I planned to leave Satoko in the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with that police officer Oyashiro here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly. What's going on? Why are there so many police cars? I gently put Satoko down into the shade of the thicket. I don't know. I'll go see what happened, so you stay here for a moment. Leaving a lady? In a place like this, wearing nothing but a bell towel? Simply unforgivable. If you can still file off those insults, you'll be fine. I'll be right back, I added, getting to my feet. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped at the clinic's entrance. I overheard an officer wearing a necktie, probably their leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. The doctor didn't seem to be Coach. It was one of those who Coach told to make the tea yesterday. So, you were the first to find it, since you were on morning duty. So then, what did it look like? He was sitting on the sofa in the head office. He looked like he was taking a nap. There was a jug and an empty bottle of sleep medication on his desk, so he really thought he had tried to commit suicide with it. What else? His high temperature and incontinuous indicated a severe disturbance of consciousness. It seemed like a typical case of sleeping pill poisoning, so I immediately began to treat him. Without calling the police or an ambulance. This is a hospital, and I'm a doctor. Since his life was in danger, it was my job to treat him at once. Yes, I understand. Okay, what else? His breathing was in disarray, so I put him on a respirator. I also administered breathing stimulants. It had no effects, so I prepared a medical ventilator and... Right. So in other words, you did what you could, but it wasn't enough. That's it, right? You reported this as soon as he died? Yes. It was very unfortunate that we were not unable to save him. Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken, mechanical voice. This is HQ. This is HQ. Komiyama-san, can you hear me? Over. Hello. This is Komiyama. We come up with something. It looks like he committed suicide with sleeping pills. No notes or anything. Suicide? What the heck were they talking about? Someone committed suicide at the clinic? But who? I wish Takano-san dead. And she died the next day. And yesterday I wish Coach was dead. Then could he have... Did he use sleeping medication regularly? I don't really know. Did he normally complain that he was tired or wanting to die? Well, Arai-sensei was normally so well himself. He never acted like that. So, I was right. Arai-sensei. They were talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. Why would he do that? There could have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to my mind was that I wanted him dead. This world, it was insane. If I wanted someone dead, they die. That was the kind of world this was. Then, what about Oishi? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should have happened to him too. I've sent you backup. Chief wants you to leave the rest to them and get back to searching for Oishi's car. Yes, sir. Please excuse me then. It looks like we're getting relieved here, so please leave everything as it is right now. Alright, let's go! The officers nodded and split up into the patrol cars. Did they just say, searching for Oishi's car? Searching for his car. That meant he had gone missing? Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi. When I wished for it, the very next day, they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it wouldn't make them dead, and that's why people could utter such curses so lightly. But the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, I hadn't even been walking, and yet... I heard a footstep. And it wasn't only one this time. They came from behind. And they stood right behind me, reaching a hand for my shoulder. Wait, is that a police siren? Oh, that's freaky. I thought the police siren was from the game because the police were leaving, but no. It's from right outside. Oh my god, that scared me. There was a police siren outside and I thought it was from the game, but I'm like, is it from the game? So when I took off my headphones and heard the police siren, oh god. Well, that's what happens when you live in an urban area.
Would you mind tell me what's going on?
Ah! Sadako? Don't scare me like that.
I'm the scared one here. I preferred if you didn't shout so suddenly.
It was Sadako. Her eyes were still unstable, unfocused, but she seemed able to at least walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to her earlier as Dawson's state. How do you feel? Are you better?
My head still hurts, but I can't stay outside looking like this forever.
She gave a smile, a show of courage, but her legs were still shaky.
Anyway, what on earth is going on?
From what I just heard the police talking about, Coach apparently committed suicide. Satsuko was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler, and I could tell she was doubting her own ears.
Keiichi-san, is that true? I didn't mishear you?
That's what I heard. They said Arai-sensei killed himself with sleeping pills. Satsuko went down on her knees and broke out in tears.
It can't be. Coach,
He would never ever kill himself. As I watched Satoko crying and clawing at the grass, I felt myself trapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday, that he betrayed me, and that I thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who, to me, deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him. Like Satoko here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death, and it was granted. And now Satoko was crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. I worked myself up to murder for Satoko's sake. I decided I wanted Satoko to be happy. But was that all it really took? Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant making everyone attached to that person sad. In Satoko's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel a sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I wanted to make Satoko happy. And that resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her had in it. But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Satoko still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
I'm sorry.
And the only thing I could think of to say to her was an apology.
Why are you apologizing?
Well, yesterday I got into a fight with Coach. I thought that I wanted him to die. I wanted so he really... Satoko looked at me dubiously for a few moments. Eventually, her expression softened as he interpreted my words in her own way.
It isn't your fault, Keiichi-san. Coach was an adult too. He felt like there was something he had to give his life for, and chose to do so after a lot of worrying and suffering. It's not anyone's fault.
She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
I do not want to be naked forever. I want some clothes.
Are you okay? Shouldn't you get someone at the clinic to...
I won't die from putting on clothes before going.
Satoko readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly, and it didn't look like she recovered as much as she let on. At first, Satoko tried to go back home, but it was the time of morning when people were going to work and going to school and work. So after seeing people walking around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only the towel.
I'm going to Rika's house. My clothes should be there. What's wrong, Keiichi-san?
Satoko noticed how I was hanging my head and spoke to me.
Despite how he might have come off, Coach was an adult, alright? He would certainly not have killed himself after a petty fight with you, Keiichi-san.
Please stop blaming yourself. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but with 3 people now, I couldn't discard the possibility. There was no such thing as impossible in this world. These past few days haven't made any sense.
What hasn't?
Satoko seemed to be having trouble breathing, but still tried to listen to what I had to say. At the Watanagashi festival the day before last, you went home on the way there, right? And I went there and had a lot of fun.
So it would seem. I do apologize for getting so upset with you about it.
Satoko remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday and bowed to me a little. If I said I actually didn't go to the festival at all, would you believe me? Satoko looked at me, confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
Of course I wouldn't believe you. What are you on about?
You wouldn't. I don't believe it either. I mean, I didn't go to the festival, but everyone's saying I hung out with them there. Nobody would believe it, right?
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Ever since the night with Watanagashi, everything's been messed up. These weird footsteps started following me everywhere. The blood drained from Satoko's expression.
Footsteps? Following you?
Yeah. I thought it was just my imagination at first, but they stayed with me. They're probably still there. I can't tell them apart now because of your footsteps, though. Sato took a long and hard look at me. Maybe she was down to my sanity. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he, after telling him this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless. On the day with Watanagashi, I didn't go. I was doing something else. The whole time, I wasn't sleeping or unconscious or anything. So it's not possible that I walked to the festival in my sleep and forgot about it afterwards.
That is quite strange. Then, how were you at the festival?
That's what I mean! I didn't go to the festival! No! I can't let myself get all emotional. If I get agitated now, that would be proving that there's something wrong in my head. Sorry. Well, nobody believes me, so yeah.
If that's what you say, Keiichi-san, then I will believe you. Then what?
That night, I saw Takara-san, and it felt like she was looking down on me. So I made a wish. I wish that she would die.
Takuro-san does have the sort of air about her, doesn't she? I cannot say that I don't understand how you feel.
Did you know that Takuro-san died? It happened yesterday. Apparently she was burned alive somewhere.
Is that true? She died?
I wish for her to die, and the next day she was dead. And a Oishi from the police too. Do you know him? That annoying fat detective guy? Satoko nodded a little. I heard from the police earlier, but apparently he went missing. And yesterday, actually, I wish that he would die.
Is this all true?
I'm not lying. I don't want to believe it either, but it's true. Takuro-san, Coach, and Oishi. I wanted them dead, and they really died. For a little while, Satoko was at a loss. A long silence ensued.
What a scary story. I should be sure not to get on your bad side, Keiichi-san.
That's not all. There's something even stranger. It's about your uncle.
I would rather you not talk about my uncle.
He was there yesterday, right? At your house.
Could we please stop talking about him? I don't want to.
It's impossible. He could have been there.
I said stop talking about him. No. No.
That man could have been there after the night of Watanagashi. Because I... No. No more, please. No more about that man. I killed him. With my own hands. Even the cicadas stopped crying. Her face was streaked with tears, and it stiffened even more as she looked at me in disbelief. On the night of Watanagashi Festival, I killed your uncle, so it was impossible that he could have come back home. But still, he went back. And last night, he found fault with the dinner you made at him, yelled all sorts of things at you, and then basically boarded you in the bathtub. That couldn't possibly happen. So, I wanted to make sure that I actually killed him. So yesterday, I went to dig up the corpse I buried, but the body wasn't there. Is that even possible? I killed him for sure, but there was no body. And he went home like nothing happened. Home to you, and... That wasn't supposed to happen, was it? Satoko's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away, like there was someone in front of her, about to hurt her. You probably think I've gone a little crazy, don't you? I don't blame you. I can't believe it myself.
Keiichi-san, I think you are very confused after all the people you wish were dead coincidentally died. You're just in shock at Coach's suicide and you're really upset. I think you should stay home from school today and rest. I'll be fine, so please take care of yourself.
Satoko spoke like she understood me, but also told me to go home. I could see the revolution in her face. Revulsion, not revolution, revulsion. And knew that she didn't want to be around me anymore. Once I show you to the clinic, I'll go home. Your legs are still shaking, aren't they? It would be terrible if you collapsed halfway there.
Really? I'm fine now. I do not want to expose my naked self to a man any more than this.
She wobbled up the shrine steps, looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on he feet. This is a serious scene, come on. Couldn't you, put the R at the end of he? Come on. Helped her stay on her feet. Just add her. Come on! This is a serious scene. You should not be doing something like this in this kind of scene. Okay, pointing it out made it worse. But then Satoko promptly jumped away from me. That outright rejection hurt a lot. Once she got up to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged, and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. Well, it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It was really a feeling of rejection. And that hurt my heart more than any blade could have. This was the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Don't be naive, Keiichi Maebara. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so that Satoko would thank you. You did it so Satoko would be happy. And that was what led to this ending. Ryujin's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. If you went past it, a little further through the shrine grounds, you apparently reached the back of the assembly hall. Satoko was heading there, walking quickly. The gravel under her feet was crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as soon as possible, or did she want to run away? I couldn't tell. And then, I heard the vigorous sound of wings flapping. I turned around and saw a crow. I hadn't seen any crows since coming to Himizawa. I saw them a lot in my old town, though. On garbage day, they flock to the clash collecting points and peck through the bags with their beaks, drag out the contents, and have a feast. As I was remembering that, I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine's donation box. And I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave a garbage bag in a place like that. The cicadas quieted. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Even time came to a halt. I ran over to where the crows were flocking. I ran there in order to drive a horrible idea out of my mind. I definitely had wanted this. There's no way I would ever wish for this even by mistake. This was not. When they noticed my vicious approach, the crows all flocked upwards, fleeing into the sky. When the crows' big black bodies flew away, they exposed the garbage bag. Okay. I'm not going to imitate that scream. I'm sorry. I cannot imitate screams today. I don't want to ruin my voice, and I feel like it would be so out of place if I fake a scream. What had I seen there? The scream escaped from my throat before I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Satoko came over as well, realizing something had happened, and she looked over my shoulder. Then she screamed as well. This wasn't. The garbage bag was crimson, dyed in fresh blood. Ugh, enough of this stupid roundabout way of saying this. That's right, yes! Yes! It was Rika-chan! Our friend, Sato's best friend! Always easygoing, clever as a cat, but so cool you couldn't hate her! Our friend, Rika-chan, she was... Rika-chan was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, staring up into the sky. And... Rika! 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 Satoko broke down crying on the spot. And yet, she still couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had gotten through the garbage bag and dragged. Well, they dragged out an apple peel and spread it all over. No. Crows. They couldn't do this. Ugh. On the spot, I started vomiting. The sour taste became a bitter one as I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan. Her stomach was cut wide open, vertically, completely open. Crows. Crows could have done this. From her open stomach. Her organs, her bowels were dragged out. Like children's toys left all over the floor. That unbelievable sight induced oxygen deprivation in my brain. Cut off my vision. A pounding headache, dizzy, and I wanted to vomit. It was like the nightmarish remains of a ceremonial killing. Someone, somewhere, had killed Rika-chan and brought her here. Laid her with her limbs all sprawled out, and then cut her stomach, and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink viscera were sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered in every direction like it had been for fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. A few of the crows had hopped around inside that like an ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody footprints. All those footsteps, there were several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it seem even more like a bizarre ritual killing. I made a wish with Takano-san and Coach and Oishi to die, but I didn't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death. Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I stumbled backwards and stepped on a newspaper. A newspaper? In a place like this? The newspaper was what was covering my hatchet. I kept it wrapped up on my belt in order to carry Satoko. And that newspaper had fallen off. Don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up, and then Satoko looked to me as such disbelief as I had ever seen, and froze. She was looking straight at me, at the hatchet, on my belt. Calm down, Satoko. This isn't what it looks like. Satoko, trembling madly, backed away. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't... Murderer! She didn't care at all that she was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon in front of her. Satoko, please calm down. Please relax. Satoko. No! No! Screaming weakly, Satoko began to run. Unsteadily. Run. Wait, that is... Wait! Please wait, Satoko! You're wrong! That's not it! The way she ran away, it was so weak, so slow. So if I wanted to go after her, I could have caught up. But if I tried to grab Satoko's shoulder or something like now, she might actually go crazy. So, I had to follow her and try to clear this up.
You killed Takano-san! And Coach! And Oishi-san, didn't you? You killed my uncle. And then you killed Rika! You murderer! No! It wasn't me! I didn't kill her! What are you saying? You just said it was yourself, did you not? You wanted them to die. And then everyone died, didn't they? No! Just wishing that they were dead, that couldn't... You don't even remember what you did, do you? How could I trust a person like you? Didn't your own memory of killing them just slip in your mind? No, maybe you're only pretending not to remember. Besides, what is that hatchet for? Try explaining that. It's for... See? Keiichi-san, you are a killer, aren't you? Why did you do it? You were a little mean, but you were fun and kind, and once I even thought you might be my real Nini. Why did you turn into this?
I might have been able to slowly answer each one of Satsuko's questions at a time. But, in this situation, explaining my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if I was really innocent anyway. At the very least, I killed Satsuko's uncle. There was no body, but I killed him. Without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wish for Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi were dead. And that curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think of it as anything more than a normal thing that you would say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die, and I realized that if I wanted people to die, they would. And hoping that would happen again, I cursed Coach and Oishi to the same fate. So, even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach's and Oishi's were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer, like Satsuko said? Was I unable to distinguish between illusion and reality and turn into a demon without remembering it? Or becoming a killer who carried out Oyashiro-sama's curse? No, I couldn't be. It was impossible. Damn it! He said impossible. The word of the day. I should not be smiling. The very word impossible was impossible in Himizawa right now. How many freaking times have I said that word in these past 3 days? Satsuko started crying again and was walking unsteadily. At first, it felt like she was still running, but now it was like she was walking away, crying from someone bullying her. Why? Why did things turn out this way? Why? There was an answer to that, and I wanted to know it too. Why? Why had it turned out like this? After Nini went away, I was lonely for a long time. Then Keiichi-san transferred to her school, and everyone was happy again. It was fun again. Every day was beautiful. Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet, after that, Satsuko and I shouted the exact same thing. How did it turn out like this? Cicadas were sneering at the spectacle. A strange game of tag. Shut up! Eventually, I heard the murmuring of a stream. The forest parted, and a suspension bridge appeared. Satsuko was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. And when I stepped onto the bridge, it swayed a lot, causing Satsuko to stagger and fall on the spot. Satsuko, are you okay? Don't come near me! You murderer! Satsuko shouted, her hatred made very clear. It was sad. If words could cut, and this warm foam from my eyes would have been blood for sure. Why? Why did you turn out this way? Keiichi said, I really liked you. I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand, but distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Satsuko would start shouting again and say things that would hurt me deeply. So, I couldn't approach any closer than this. Satsuko, I don't know how things turned out like this either, but I can say this. I wasn't the only one who killed Rika-chan. At least that is true.
Please stop being so absurd! How do you expect me to believe anything from someone who can't even rely on his own memories has to say?
I tightened my hands into fists. This was mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Himizawa was crazy ever since I wandered into it, lost on that one night. This insane world where I was at the festival when I wasn't and the uncle I killed was alive, where death could just come by wishing for it. It was this world's fault! Me and Arena started acting strangely like they were possessed by something too, and Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Satsuko, who I protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing! At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why, the days in Satsuko and I enjoyed in peace, what's so wrong? Satsuko, please believe me. I'm not a murderer.
Then what is that hatchet for? Can you give me a convincing explanation for that?
Is this hatchet scaring you? Okay, I'll throw it away. That's what you want, right? Satsuko didn't nod, but she seemed to be in agreement with that proposition. I clumsily took the hatchet out of my belt and dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below. There. It's gone. Now, you will listen to me, right?
You think I'll let my guard down just because you got rid of your weapon? Keiichi-san, you're strong. It would be easy for you to strangle me with your bare hands.
Like hell I would. Everyone's kill Satsuko. You idiot. Then what should I do? Should I put my hands on my head?
Yes, why don't you? Please, put your hands on your head and face all the other way.
It was a cunning plan, much like the ones she used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean I wouldn't attack Satsuko very easily. I immediately acquiesced to her request, since it would make her feel better. Is this alright? Please, listen to what I have to say. Satsuko stood up, then clearly approached me from behind. And then, she actually came up right behind me. She was so close, and yet I was so sad that I wasn't allowed to turn around. I
sort of think I understand that it isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
Huh?
I think probably you must have been possessed by something evil. Until before, I thought Keiichi-san was a killer, but I know now. After looking at your eyes.
I could hear that Satsuko was still crying, but her voice was gentle, just the same.
Keiichi-san could never kill anyone. Something simply possessed his body. It made him do evil things.
Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to bondage me? I couldn't tell.
Come to think of it, maybe they were possessed, just like Keiichi-san. At the time, I was only thinking I would be killed, so I didn't think about it. But now I understand. That was the work of something evil that possessed you.
Satsuko? What? Are you? It was less like she was talking to me, and more like she was talking to herself, like she was confessing at my back.
I understand, It isn't like I haven't experienced it myself.
Satsuko's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore at my heart. But I didn't know what Satsuko was talking about.
I climbed to the top of the ritual storehouse once. It was a few years ago.
Once, when Satoko was playing hide and seek at the shrine grounds, she climbed onto the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements which everyone said not to go near and hid. Then, Satoko saw that she could get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Satoko, the word curse was plenty scary, but she was more curious about what was inside the unknown storehouse. She removed the getting out the window, which was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark to see much, but after descending, she realized just how high up she had been. Despite the darkness, she could still see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming in from the air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside, and it was made not to open from within. She would have to go back out through the ventilation window she came in from. But the window was high on the wall, and there was no way she would be able to climb back up. Satoko desperately tried not to cry, and racked her brain thinking of a way how to get up there. There were a lot of bird cage-looking things hanging by chains from the ceilings. She took the hanging chains and shoved them along the wall. If she climbed up the bundle of chains, she might have been able to climb up to the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. And try she did. It was dark and creepy, and she didn't want to stay there forever. The more she thought about that, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Satoko could hear the clinks and clangs, everything creaking under her weight. I apologize for the sudden interruption. My camera battery had died. I was trying to finish this part of the chapter before my camera battery died, which I had failed to, but now since I've replaced the battery, I'm going to finish this part of the chapter and then end the video, like I was trying to do earlier. Sorry about that, everyone. And then, just as her hand reached the window, one of the metal fixtures she used to stick the chains on the wall flew off, and the chains all began to pull loudly and fiercely every which way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back up onto the roof from the window. Because of the weight of the failing bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke, and then one of the big bird cages hanging from the ceiling fell to the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of Oyashiro-sama, his vessel, and the Keiichi took off one of the arms, then trapped some other implements beneath it. It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she'd done. The deafening sound could be heard from the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around, and of course, Rika was one of them. Then, Rika's father, the shrine's priest, with an angry look, ran over. And then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika-chan's parents kept the key to the ritual storehouse was Rika. So he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in there. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back, took a very strangely shaped ritual can or something, and struck her with it several times. Struck her with it. Rika's words at the time, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." That pitiful voice. I still can't get it out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so, to save my best friend from that false accusation, without being afraid of Rika's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried at the crime she didn't remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange.
I know. I understand. This is Oyashiro-sama's curse. His judgment for messing up the ritual storehouse and forsaking my best friend.
Oyashiro-sama's curse?
My father and mother, too. They vanished in that bloody stream. My mean aunt did, too. But then my Nimi, who loved me more than anyone, ran away from home. And then Keiichi-san transferred in, and I thought I finally got my fun life back. But this time, Keiichi-san was possessed. And even Erika got killed.
There's something I heard once. Oyashiro-sama, when he really curses someone, he doesn't kill them right away. He goes in the order of your closest friends, and killing them all. He kills that person last, after killing them all. Wow, I'm skipping words, I'm sorry. So Keiichi-san, the curse got you too. I'm sure that Rena and Mion-san would be cursed next. And then they kill and be killed. No more. No. Calm down, Sadako. There's no curse. Nobody's trying to torment you. When I turned around, I was thrust away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take the fall and lost my balance. And I've been pushed not into the ridge, but to the side. Towards the stream. No! This can't be happening! Ah! As one last miracle, I was allowed to grip a cord hanging from the ridge. Far below me was a stream. We were pretty high up, and below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't have been pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body's weight. My frail little grip probably couldn't last another minute before my fingers had to let go. Sadako! Sadako! I didn't understand myself. What I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking her why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus, and I saw Sadako. And I was surprised. What an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those needed to die. Die, you murderer! Give him back! Give back my Nini! Give back Rika-chan and Mommy! Keiichi-san! As she screamed, she jerked the bridge back and fro. To and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway. I won't lose the likes of you! I won't lose to some super curse! I will never, ever lose to you! You took everyone! I will never lose to you, not ever! Sadako, please, just let me say one thing. I don't know what my face looked like at the time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Sadako's agitation. I know that what I did isn't exactly praiseworthy. No. In fact, maybe I should have never done it at all. But I did it because I wanted you to be happy. Please. Just believe that. You! At the very end, you're still pretending to be Keiichi-san! Satsuko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. And for that to happen at the very end like this was tragic. I didn't do any of it so that you would praise me. If it made you happy, that was all that mattered. We were nothing. Without your smile, we were nothing. So, after I disappear, please smile. If you can get on with your new life by my dying, then please, just smile. Can't you at least promise me that? Stop speaking! Don't you use Keiichi's mouth like that! Fall down! Die! And those were the last words Satsuko ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Satsuko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one, or was it Himizawa? And after all this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this eerie world that was crazy. This world I accidentally wandered onto that one night. Because that fun world where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever. It couldn't possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended with this, with Satoko pushing me to my death. And then, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear. No, I'd probably already disappeared. Yes, probably. On night Watanagashi. I'm sure that the world I really belonged to, I'd vanished at night, and everyone was worried. It was laughable. Had it taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 5th year was Satoko's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Satoko had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen and they would have a good time without me. Waiting for the day I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this is what I wished for. It was my wish for Satoko to smile, and my duty as her needy. At this point, there will be nobody left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I, it took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying, toothy smile of yours, we wanted to see it one more time. And Keiichi Maebara has died. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now, I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazy Hizumi-zawa. Thanks for giving me this psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you will still allow it, I wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, of this crazy Mizawa, so that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here again. I still think there's a little bit more after this part. But I think that's the next chapter, where it shows the aftermath of what happened. Maybe, I might be wrong. This might be the last chapter. No, this is not the last chapter. I think chapter 13 is the last chapter, but I'm gonna go ahead and read the tips real quick, and then I'm gonna end the episode, and I will do the outro. Okay, I'm gonna get to the tips first. Wow, this was probably one of the longest Higurashi recordings I've ever done. It's been 90 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and read notes and then finish this video. I'm kind of tired because reading this much in 90 minutes is kind of exhausting. So okay, let's see the notes real quick, and then I'm gonna end the episode and continue on to the final chapter next time. Oyashiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oyashiro-sama. Knowing this is really hard, partly because, depending on the time period, he has been called with various titles, with subtle changes to his name. Nobody knows the real one. The only thing all time periods agree on is that the 4 syllables O, Ya, Shi, and Ro are always used. There is a theory staying at the shrine, or Yashiro, dedicated to Oyashiro-sama itself, became a object of worship, and that people began calling it Oyashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine, but this doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oyashiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. And the legend of the Furude family passes down. If for 8 generations in a row the firstborn child is a girl, the 8th daughter will be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. If we go by this legend, the characters used for Oyashiro-sama's name should be O for honorable, Ya for 8, and Shiro for generation. These character assignments are simply something I've thought up. There is no way to verify it. If this is true, then Oyashiro-sama would have been named as such under the assumption that he would come again. The second coming of object worship can be seen in several religions, so this isn't unusual. But a few of these religions call the second coming of the object of worship a day of judgment, or something along those lines, and we must not forget they mean it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk in the village. The rumors say she is the 8th generation, and Oyashiro-sama. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at the very least, I confirm for the past 2 generations, the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Himizawa. If the village were to lose her protection, what would happen? Would peace between man and demon be lost? Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons were rampant? A gruesome feast of the demons who suddenly remember how delicious the we humans were, who would only cry, scream, and run for their lives. What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. What a fucking talking now. Achievement 1, Detective Tatarigoroshi. Whoa, the game froze. Okay, the game froze, but I'm gonna end this episode right here. I think there might be a little bit of what happens afterwards, like an aftermath portion of this game, but I'm gonna film that next time. So, if you like Higurashi with the card to Tatarigoroshi, I can say this now, we only have 1 more episode left before I end this chapter of Higurashi and move on to the next. So if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. This was an exceptionally long episode of Higurashi, but it was worth it. I think it was worth it. Even though I got really tired towards the end, I still thought it was worth it. This is actually one of the best arcs of Higurashi. I'm gonna bet this now. This is actually one of the best arcs of Higurashi. Mostly because it shows more to Keiichi's character and Sato's character, and it just shows how deep the story of Higurashi can go into topics such as the ones explored in this part of the game. So, thank you all for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, and next week, or next 2 weeks, I don't know when I'm going to upload the next Higurashi episode, but the next Higurashi episode will be the last one of Tatarigoroshi, before I move on to Chapter 4, for which I forgot the name of. So if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time.